Now for the first of our wine tasting notes.
It's slightly thin and even slightly hot on the finish.
I know what you mean about the thinness, but it's the acidity running through it. It's almost like red currant or cranberry acidity.
But I quite like that because it is more interesting for longer.
With nothing to do in Buellton except learn to play the banjo, we decide to stay in and try all our supermarket samples. One of them is a Merlot and one is a Pinot, but I'm not sure which one. It's not that.
To clear our heads, I've decided to immerse ourselves in the biggest influence on West Coast wine quality, ice-cold offshore water. So there it is, James. That is the reason that you can grow fine wine in California, the Pacific Ocean.
The sea is cold, makes cold air which blows over the vines, which helps slow down the rate at which the grapes ripen. I can understand that without having to go and stand in the bin. It's Oz and James's big wine adventure.
Yeah.
Not Oz and James's humiliate James by making him do the thing he is least good at in the world, which is anything sporty. I can barely swim now.
You've gone commando, by the way.
And I've stubbed my toe. Can I come out now, Dad?
I feel like $1 million after that. Now, James's New World education is not just about drinking. I want him to meet some Santa Barbara wine-making stars. Santa Barbara County produces wines in 3 valleys: Santa Ynez, Santa Rita, and Santa Maria. Look for these names on the label. This is the Au Bon Climat winery, run by my old friend Jim Clendenin.
Oz Clark.
If anyone started the Pinot Noir craze in California, it's Jim. He's the perfect chap to get James started. It's a fantastic ridge up here, Jim. I'm not used to going on to Californian vineyards so much up on the hill. But where? Tell us where we are now. Where's north, south, east, west?
Well, if you look straight out there, you're going due west. In the
that's the ocean.
That's the ocean.
That's
the singular
where all
thing
this wind is coming.
all the wind's coming from there, and there are no mountain ranges between us and the Pacific Ocean.
So if you're looking for a Pinot Noir based wine from California, it's a very fashionable drink. You want one from an area that has high elevation, winds. What was the other thing?
The high
Morning
elevation
fog.
is nice, but the winds are crucial, and morning fogs to stop the to cool the vineyards down in the morning.
Excellent. There you go. That's a wine fact.
Our first wine fact.
I do believe there is more great wine made now than ever in the history of the world, which I think is special. I also think there's more standardized wine passed off as great wine than ever in the history of the world, too.
So you must have to spend quite a lot of your time buying other people's wines and tasting them and thinking about what's happening.
It's a dirty job.
But
Somebody's got to do
You must be permanently hammered.
it. Get out. But I have to tell you that late at night, at the end of a party, I am still standing when probably I should be taking a nap someplace.
You can probably make a fair assessment of the wine by meeting the maker. You go and meet him. If he's a bit fat and his hair's untidy and he's pissed, buy it. Is that fair?
You've got a
Oh, unfair, but probably true.
I hope all Californian winemakers are like Jim. A few minutes pretending to look at the vines, and then back for an afternoon of drinking this Pinot Noir thing.
Well, this is fruity, and the flavour is, I would say this is quite a coy wine, the sort John Donne would have written about, and it's polite as well. It's a polite wine. It's not one of those ones that sort of comes into the room going, hey, you know, with its big face.
So far, so good.
How much is it in Britain, and can you buy it?
Which should be 12 pounds.
Yeah.
My guess is by the time you found it, it would be closer to 16 to 18 pounds.
And it's a very drinkable wine that goes very well with itself. I'd quite, happily sit on the step outside my house and drink it.
Well,
Let's have
thank
the
you,
lunch.
James.
I mean, he's absolutely taken to Jim. and has shown that if he likes the person, and if the wines actually have personality, James has got lots of good and interesting ideas about the wine. Once upon a time in California, there was gold in the Nar Hills. Now, the gold rush has become a wine rush, and everyone wants in on the act. You don't even have to own a vineyard to be a player in the wine business. You can buy your grapes, by the ton if you like, or even rent a couple of acres of vines to cultivate, as you choose. The young winemakers of the town of Lompoc are doing just that. Anybody can visit the wine ghetto to taste their cult wines.
It looks like somewhere you'd mend cars.
Sashi Norman and Jim Knight are part of a collective producing wine with interesting labels like Holas Bolus and Jelly Roll. But take it from me, they're names to watch out for in the future.
Why are you in an industrial unit which should be used for making pallets, and yet you're in here making wine?
Because it's the most affordable kind of space to have a winery. We can't build a chateau or a winery make an estate winery because we don't own the land. Something like the ghetto actually becomes kind of an ambassador for the region, because this becomes a place that people come to visit. Even though it's not beautiful, they find it charming in some strange way, and so that endears people to not only the wines but the spirit of the place.
As much as I like these blokes, an industrial estate is not really where I'd choose to go for a drinking holiday. But no matter, the poor people have invited us to a party that they've organised next to one of the vineyards where they scrump their grapes.
Our genial hosts are going to help me set James his first wine challenge of the trip to see if he's really understood how much climate affects Pinot Noir.
First though, some Oz Clarke worship.
Oz, there's a lady here who would like to meet you. I'm sorry, I don't know your name because you didn't.
I just went into Oz.
You went straight into.
Oz. My name is Amy. Christine.
Right, I'll go now.
Just the kind of girl I like to meet at wine tasting.
I actually am really nervous, and I feel like I want to bow a little bit, but I don't want to embarrass you.
I never really thought of Oz Clarke. Sorry, let me just have a discreet look. As a sex symbol, but why would I? He's just another bloke that you could go to the pub with. But he's obviously very famous around here and very popular, and people really like him and are quite intimidated by his presence.
And I would watch you sit, and you had little tutorials on how to swirl wine and smell wine and taste wine, and that's how I started.
Here people they get sort of dribbly and jittery and wobbly at the knees because Oz Clarke is here, which is great, but I wouldn't have guessed.
Can I be your sidekick?
Amy, let me talk to my director about this.
Would you?
Let me talk to my director, because I think Oz and Amy's Big Wine Adventure is a much better title.
James, are you ready for your test?
We've got a cool climate Pinot Noir and a warmer one. So we've got one which is probably from the south-facing slopes. We'll get more fruit into it, maybe more alcohol. And we've got one from the cooler, wind-swept areas of Santa Maria, where it's likely to have things maybe like drier spices, maybe like vegetable flavors, but not so fat, not so bulbous, not so juicy.
Right.
Come on, James. My reputation's on the line here.
That's off the wind-swept slope, and that's off the sunny slope with the fruit and the alcohol in it.
You're right.
Ah.
You're right.
What I can't understand is how you've made a living out of this for the last 85 years. It's a piece of cake.
Oz Clarke, wine god and world wine tasting champion. For now.
I think the thing about James is that if he puts his mind to it, he's got an excellent palate. He's got a very original and imaginative approach to flavours and tastes of every possible sort. I suspect he's got a very imaginative approach to everything in life. If he concentrates, if he doesn't arse about, he's going to be really good.